Hey, what's up, guys? Chris Nelson here. Happy New Year. I hope you're ready for an awesome 2024. Please like and share this around. Now, I know that everybody today is going to be talking about the Epstein stuff, and man, I could be one of I could be one of the grifters, man. I could have been a great grifter. I really could have been. There's a simple formula to it. You just breaking news just around the corner. Epstein exposes blah blah blah, and then whatever. Or Obama's chef found in a Michelle Obama is really a man, and find out more about this next. The Earth is flat. I could. There's a formula to it, and I could do it. I could do it, but the thing is like I couldn't really live with myself because I don't really like lying to people, and I can't really like lie to people and then like stick with a lie. I think that takes somebody that like doesn't have a conscience, um, or they believe their own crap or whatever. But so that's important. The Epstein stuff is important as Trump's name is all over those flight logs, but his people don't care. That they're going to come up with excuses, mental gymnastics. The thing I'm not concerned about is that Ron DeSantis' name is going to appear anywhere in there because he wouldn't never hang out with somebody like that. Oh well, Trump kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. Well, maybe he did, but he hung out with him. He was buddy with Ghislaine Maxwell. He was buddy with Jeff Epstein. Okay, he flew on his plane. So if you're gonna say anybody that flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane for any reason is guilty of sex trafficking, you got to include Donald Trump too, right? And let's remember there were underage victims with this Jeffrey Epstein stuff, and Trump has a history of being disgusting. So that's really big today. Also, that the president of Harvard resigned. That's a good thing. Plagiarist, anti-Semite. Yes, that's a good thing. But there's something else that's come out today that has piqued my interest very much, and it might not get paid too much attention to, but I am paying attention to it, and I hope you pay attention to it, and I hope that you share this everywhere because one of the things that has been a absolute core belief to be in the Trump cult, you must believe this. You must believe that the 2020 election was stolen, okay? And that just became common. You can't even deny it. And there's been a level of brainwashing with this. There are accounts that just put out every single day daily reminder Trump won, daily reminder Trump won, Trump won, Trump won. You Trump won flags, Trump won everywhere. That was just a big thing, and it was repeated over and over again. So it gets into your head that Trump won, the election was stolen, the election was stolen, there was voter fraud and all this other stuff, okay? Well, it comes down to this. Was it really stolen? I mean, we're at a point right now, it's 2024 now. This happened back in 2020. We're about to come up on another presidential election. And you should ask, was the 2020 election really stolen? Because by now, there would be a level of evidence to say that it was. Well, look at this. The guy that Trump paid an actual hefty amount of money to says it wasn't. Kenneth Block. Trump paid me to find voter fraud. Then he lied after I found 2020 election was not stolen. The cries that the 2020 election was lost or stolen due to voter fraud continue with no sign of stopping. But if voter fraud had impacted the 2020 election, it would already have been proven. Now, let me tell you, people on the Trump side, just like what they do cognitive dissonance with everything. Oh, this is USA Today. This is fake news. This isn't true. Hey, I was there. I remember you're trained in the Trump cult to believe that everything that is against the orthodoxy is fake news. That even if the article contains things that are real, that it's fake news. Okay, but this is Kenneth Block, the guy who actually was hired by the Trump campaign. Can a steady diet of lies and innuendo overcome the truth? In November 2020, President Donald Trump asserted that voter fraud had altered the outcome of the 2020 presidential election. Okay? The day after the election, his campaign hired an expert in voter data to attempt to prove Trump's allegations and put him back in the White House. I am the expert who was hired by the Trump campaign. That's who's writing this, okay? That is who is writing this. It is Kenneth Block, and he is the second firm hired by Trump's campaign to look into Wesco software systems, subpoena to turn over documents from Jack Smith. So this is the guy who Trump actually paid to find that the 2020 election was stolen, okay? And stick with me because this is important. I know this isn't the sensationalist, this kind of stuff like, oh my goodness, and this breaking just around the corner. This is important though, okay, guys? This is very, very important. The findings of my company's in-depth analysis are detailed in the depositions taken by the Select Committee to investigate January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. The transcripts show that the campaign found no evidence of voter fraud sufficient to change the outcome of any election. That message was communicated directly to White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. Okay? And look, go over here. Mark Meadows has flipped and is cooperating. I don't really like the word flipped. He's cooperating. He's telling the truth. He's looking out for his own interest, which is what you should always do in the case of Trump, okay? And guys, this is important. Just please listen, all right? This is very important. He told them that he warned Trump about the 2020 election claims. Meadows said Trump was dishonest on election night. Former President Donald Trump's final chief of staff in the White House, Mark Meadows, has spoken with special counsel Jack Smith's team at least 3 times this year, including once before a federal grand jury, which came only after Smith granted Meadows immunity to testify under oath. The sources said Meadows informed Smith's team he repeatedly told Trump in the weeks after the 2020 presidential election that the allegations of significant voting fraud coming to them were baseless, a striking break from Trump's prolific rhetoric guarding the election. According to the sources, Meadows also told the federal investigators Trump was being dishonest with the public when he first claimed to have won the election only hours after polls closed on November 3rd, 2020, before the results were in. Obviously, we didn't win. A source quoted Meadows as telling Smith's team in hindsight. All right. Trump has called Meadows, one of the former president's closest and highest ranking aides in the White House, a special friend and a great chief of staff, as good as it gets. Okay, yes, you're right, Bonnie. Okay, good. More viewers are coming back. Just watch. This is going to be a very short video. Just watch and stay with me here because this is important, especially if you were a Trump supporter, okay? If you were somebody that really, truly believed this, all right? If you were somebody who really, truly, like myself, was a true believer that Trump did win the 2020 election and that all this was going on and that, and because if that's the case, then it's important that you stand up, right, and do something and protest and exercise your First Amendment and investigate and do everything you can because a stolen election would be horrible. I accidentally hit a button there. So, but then it's like, to me, this is like your wife cheated on you, lied about it, and you found out later that she cheated on you and lied to you about it. What would you be more mad about? That she cheated on you or that she lied about it? Because with this, it's like both. Like, I'd be mad that I'm mad that Trump lied about the election being stolen. And I'm mad that he continued to tell that lie even when he knew it was, even though he knew it was a lie. Okay? So, going on with this, the findings of my in-depth analysis are detailed in the depositions taken by the Select Committee to investigate January 6th attack on the Capitol. The transcripts show the campaign finding no evidence of voter fraud sufficient to change the outcome of any election. That message was communicated directly to White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. Our findings have also been subpoenaed by Special Counsel Jack Smith on federal investigation and Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis's investigation into Georgia. Okay? So this is the guy that Trump hired. He paid a lot of money to say, okay, go find that the election was stolen from me. So this guy had every reason to come back to Trump. This man's name is Kenneth Block. Kenneth Block had every reason to come back to Trump and give him what he wanted. It would be like the government saying, we're going to fund, or Bill Gates saying, I'm going to fund $1 million to a climate scientist to tell me that there's man-made climate change. And of course, that guy is not going to want to come back and tell Bill Gates, oh, you know what? I kind of found that there is some climate change, but human beings really have nothing to do with it. No, he doesn't want to hear that because he's got reasons for it, okay? He's got a motivation. Trump had a motivation here. But this guy, Kenneth Block, perhaps he's an honest man. Perhaps he had the foresight to realize that he could be dragged into legal stuff, like people like Giuliani and Mark Met, the rest of these guys have gotten themselves dragged into. But either way, he came back to Trump and told him, no, we can't find any evidence of this that would hold up in court or anywhere. Okay. These emails and documents show that the voter data available to the campaign contain no evidence of large-scale voter fraud based on data mining and fraud analytics. More important, claims of voter fraud made by others were verified as false, including proof of why those claims were disproven. And yet, the cries that the election was lost or stolen due to voter fraud continue, with no sign of stopping. Whether a stump speech, outrageous lawsuits like the so-called Kraken cases filed by Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani's lies, or the ongoing misguided efforts of people determined to prove the election was stolen, the constant drumbeat hardens people's hearts and minds to the truth about the 2020 election. Remember the Kraken case? Do you remember this one? Release the Kraken! And here came people that they realized that if you just told Trump whatever he wanted to hear, and told Trump supporters whatever they wanted to hear that backed up their belief that the election was stolen. And really, the argument that it would all come down to, that people would say, was, oh, come on! Like this is what I would get. I would go, well, how do we know the election was stolen? Oh, come on! And then they would point to a picture of a Biden rally with the people that were six people sitting in circles, and they would point to a Trump rally with all these people, and they would say, Chris, you're telling me that a guy with a rally with only 6 people, even though that's all Biden was allowing into his rallies, you could not get into a Biden rally. It was funny. You had to be like on this special list. And they kept everybody else way at bay. And they said, of course, COVID was the reason. But Trump, they would say, oh, look, he's got all these people at his rallies. Are you telling me that somebody with all these people at these rallies could lose to somebody with people sitting in 6 squares at his rally? And I would go, all right, yeah, it didn't seem when you looked at rally size, because that's all Trump cares about is, oh, how many people were there? How many, I had more people in my inauguration than anybody and stuff. And so that's what it came down to. Was, oh yeah, hey, Bret Baier. Is Bret Baier, because Trump, he's not going to be part of the debate, of course, the CNN debate, which is going to, in the ratings, whip Fox News' ass, by the way. He's doing a parallel town hall with Bret Baier on the 10th, not doing the debate in Iowa. Fox News is a party to all this, okay? On the 10th, there's the CNN Iowa debate at 9. So Fox News today announced they're doing a town hall with Donald Trump, and when we're going to listen to bazillionaire Bret Baier sit there and just ask Trump, lob softballs at Trump, tell him how great he is, and that's going to somehow take viewers away because he wants to take viewers away from CNN and the debate between DeSantis and Haley, that and he's going to cry that CNN would just be unfair to him anyway, and blah blah blah. And if Fox News is doing anything with DeSantis, then he cries that Fox News is unfair to him. So Trump's a coward. He doesn't, and I wonder, does he doesn't want to answer questions like this. This is like a big deal, all right? And this is a question that, hey, Bret Baier, you want to show you have some guts? Ask about this. This is probably even more than the COVID stuff, because I get it. He doesn't care about the COVID stuff. Trump basically endorses everything he did with Fauci. He doesn't have a problem with that. That question's pretty much been asked and answered with me. He's basically on the same page as Biden or any Democrat or Cuomo is in regards to Fauci and the vaccine. He'd do it all over again. He doesn't think there was anything wrong with it. That's where he stands on that. That question to me has been answered. What hasn't been answered, and what really needs to be brought up by these Fox News hosts who believe this stuff, I think, it is the question about this. Where did the Stop the Steal money go? Where did because there was a lot of money involved in this, okay, in the Stop the Steal stuff. And here, I'll show you this. Because, all right, this is me on November 8th, 2020. Here I am leading a Stop the Steal rally in Delray Beach. Steal! Stop the steal! Stop the steal! Stop the steal! All right, so you can see, I mean, yeah, I was, and here I am. That's me outside of Smartmatic. You can see I even had the sunglasses that all the Trump people adore. So yeah, outside of Smartmatic on the bullhorn. Hey, the election was stolen. Da da da. No, there I am with Laura. There I am with outside. So I mean, thank God I wasn't there on January 6th. But I mean, I was a true believer that the election had been stolen. Okay. So so I feel deceived. I feel lied to. I can't imagine how the people that gave money to this stuff feel. All right? Rudy Giuliani lied about voter fraud in Georgia. This is what Kenneth Block, the guy that Trump paid, I think, $700,000 to find voter fraud. He fired his firm. These are the people that were hired by Trump's own campaign. It's part of a steady diet of innuendo, misrepresentations, and outright lies when it comes to the issue of voter fraud. Giuliani admitted he lied about Ruby Freeman and her daughter. All right, so he's going around saying, "Oh yeah, they were passing around these hard drives like crack pipes," which to me that's got some racial overtones to it. Okay. There was some racial overtones there because in inner cities, a lot of the election workers are black, okay? And there was some racial overtones to it, I feel, now looking at it. At the time, I was like, oh, no, there's not. But, oh, I see. You guys are trying to steal the election from us, huh? And now I see that. And I know that a lot of these election workers, they're just working this as a job. They're not sitting there going, oh, let me fix this election against Trump. They're just doing their job, okay? And then suddenly they get named and shamed by Rudy Giuliani, the former mayor of New York, and all these people with big platforms, and then they start getting threats and stuff. All right? So yeah, don't tell me don't tell me there wasn't some racial overtone with that, okay? So stories that set the record straight about election innuendo are not typically broadcast in right-leaning media. No, they're not. You're not. This is why this is in USA Today. You're not going to see this on Fox News. You're not going to see Bret Baier ask Donald Trump about this. You're not going to see this on Breitbart. You're not going to see this on a lot of sites. That's why there really is an opening for a real, honest, conservative media outlet that doesn't lick Trump's butt all day. Anybody want to get together and start one? Because, I mean, there's really not. You've got the Trump butt lickers on Fox News and Breitbart. Then you got CNN, MSNBC, USA Today, Newsweek, and there's really no. And then you're presented that, oh, these are the two viewpoints. There's really no, like, source in there. There's like Washington Examiner. There's some of these, I guess, Ben Shapiro's, you could kind of say, that are Daily Wire. But there's really not, like, as many really reliable, a little center-right sources that aren't just Trump butt-licking organizations. Okay? So here is the right-leaning media, which means millions of people receive no information to help them make a more informed decision about what happened in 2020. Exactly. And this is where I am. All right. I had to realize that, oh, wow, CNN sometimes tells the truth. You have to look into it yourself. I mean, if you're going to have your eyes opened, why is it that you must have your eyes closed to everything that comes out of CNN? I mean, why not? What I like to do is I like to look at the byline. I like to look at who wrote it. Do I know them a little bit? New York Times, okay? Who wrote this story? What else has he written? Where does he stand on things? Because people are being hired and fired from organizations all the time. And then look at their source material in these things. Not just, oh, well, gee, this comes from USA Today, so it must be fake. No, okay, it comes from USA Today. We know that they're very to the left, and they've been to the left. But let's look at this. This was actually not written by USA Today staff. This was written by Kenneth Block. Kenneth Block, software engineer and president of Simpatico Software Systems, who Trump hired to prove that the 2020 election was stolen. Okay? That's who wrote this. This is an opinion piece by him. So there's no innuendo from USA Today here. This is just who printed it, all right? You're not going to see this being printed in Breitbart, all right? They would say, nope, not going to print that. Because then they'd stop being shared by Trump. Breitbart prints stories that to be shared by Trump, okay? That he'll share on Truth Social, and that all the other bozos will amplify. By the way, the year of the grifter being exposed was 2023. The year of the grifter being disposed is 2024. All right. These guys have infiltrated the Republican Party, Republican media, the Jack Posobics of the world, those guys, and they echo these things. So a story goes out on Breitbart, shared by Trump, echoed everywhere, and that's how they get their traction. Okay. So they're not going to print something like this because they only are printing things that their audience wants to hear, that gives them that next hit of crack almost. Like, oh, yeah, see, I'm right about this. See, the election was stolen. Nothing that will red pill anybody and make them go, oh, gee, you know, all these things that I believe may be lies. What these claims don't take into account is that voter fraud is detectable, quantifiable, and verifiable. I have yet to see anyone offer up evidence of voter fraud from the 2020 election that proves these three things. My company's contract with the campaign obligated us to deliver evidence that fraud could be defended, voter fraud that could be defended in a court of law. The small amount of voter fraud I found was bipartisan, with about as many Republicans casting duplicate votes as Democrats. Wow, how about that? This is a crime of privilege. Those with two homes sometimes take 2 bites of the electoral apple. There you go. That's why we see that sometimes. We see that with people. Sometimes somebody got caught doing that in Broward, where they were a resident of Washington, D.C., resident of New York. They voted there, and then they voted down here as well. Okay? But that doesn't fit the narrative. Okay? They want this mass thing that massive amount of votes were switched, and there were culprits within the supervisors of elections office doing this, and that's not what he found. And he's like, I'm not going to give you something that you can't take to court. All right. There were also a small numbers of deceased voters. Still, nothing emerged that could provide a solid base for a legal challenge to an election result in any of the states we evaluated. Additional legal hurdles beyond solid evidence of fraud stand in the way of any effort to overturn or to gate an election result through our legal system. Even if it could be shown that more fraudulent votes were cast in a state than the margin of victory in 2020, no one can determine for which candidate each fraudulent ballot was cast. Trump's claim of voter fraud have no foundation in the truth. We vote anonymously with good reason. No candidate can credibly claim that a fraudulent vote was credited to their opponent unless the person who cast that vote tells us. This means that a candidate trying to use voter fraud as a reason to change an election result cannot show that the fraudulent votes caused their election loss. Let me read that again. We vote anonymously with good reason. No candidate can credibly claim that a fraudulent vote was credited to their opponent unless the person who cast that vote tells us, okay? So what Ron DeSantis has done as governor in Florida is he's taken this as a law enforcement issue. So he goes, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to create an agency that, and it was funny because people were going, oh, you're creating more government. Well, in this case, like sometimes I agree with creating another agency, not always, but sometimes, and make it a law enforcement. Actually, I don't know if it created a new agency. It created a new department, but the Department of Election Integrity. That the voter fraud, Florida. All right, so the Election Integrity Office, okay? This was SB 524, establishing the Office of Election Crimes and Security to be solely dedicated to investigating election violations, okay? So that was something that DeSantis created here in Florida because, and then treated it as a law enforcement issue. So if an illegal vote is cast, there can be an investigation. It's not up to the supervisors of elections to do these investigations. They just count the votes, okay? They're not there to say that that so-and-so, that Chris Nelson actually is registered to vote in New York, okay? They're just, okay, Chris Nelson voted, he voted for this person, the vote is in order, that vote gets counted. They're not there to run an investigation. That's done at the point of registration. But what DeSantis realized is that there needs to be an agency or a department that does investigations into these things. And he actually had 20 people arrested for illegally voting. And what did he find? People that were illegal voters in the United States, people with criminal records, a lot of sex offenders that shouldn't be voting for some reason voting. But there's no saying who they voted for. And then he brought them out, and he made an announcement a month before the election about 20 people getting arrested, and then boom. So it's like, there's the deterrent. If you were thinking about voting illegally, don't do it. Don't do it. You could get caught. There's people investigating. So that's how he handled it. And it worked pretty well. I mean, I would say our election in Florida was pretty good. I mean, our results were in quick. The Republicans won up and down the ballot. I mean, it was pretty good. But dude, the Kraken people of the world and the Mike Lindells and these guys go, oh gee, Florida did a good job. Let's emulate that in other states. No, they accuse DeSantis of cheating because they don't care about actually having fair elections. They just want to kiss Trump's ass and keep selling their pillows. That's it. Okay, so they don't. Saying that Mike Lindell is an election expert or Steve Bannon or any of these other bozos is just nonsense, all right? They only care about Trump-centric things. They only want it, and Trump hates DeSantis right now, so anything DeSantis does is bad, period, all right? Okay. This means that a candidate trying to use voter fraud as a reason to change an election result cannot show that the fraudulent votes caused their election loss. All right? You don't know unless the person says, yeah, I illegally voted. All right? That's why you need an election crimes department. As a former gubernatorial candidate, I can admire the discipline it takes to stay on message on a single issue. There is no doubt that voter fraud can animate people, but it is one thing to provide a rallying point for supporters and quite another to drag our election infrastructure and legal system into a foundationless set of false claims. A better use of time, money, and energy would be to address systemic weaknesses in our election systems, such as distressing lack of national election infrastructure to enforce election integrity, destructive practices in our elections such as gerrymandering, and leveling the playing field so our elections become fairer and more competitive. In other words, none of the RNC and outlets like Fox News being obviously giving one candidate extreme preference over another, like we're seeing now between Trump and DeSantis. Okay, that's like in-kind contributions. If voter fraud had impacted the 2020 election, it would already have been proven. Maintaining the lies undermines faith in the foundation of our democracy. Ken Block owns Simpatico Software Systems and is the author of Disproven, my unbiased search for voter fraud in the Trump campaign, the data that shows why he lost and how we can improve our elections. Coming out March 12th. Oh, I'm buying that. You better believe I'm buying that. This guy was paid, I think, $700,000 by Trump to find voter fraud. Hey, guess what? He couldn't find it. Oh, you want to see something else? Want to see something else interesting here? All right. Here is Trump. Oh, what would you do if the Democrats rioted to try to stop the election? Oh, here he is. Listen to Trump. Listen to this.
What are you going to do? Let's say there are threats. They say that they're going to threaten riots if they lose on election night, assuming we get a winner on election night. What are you going to do?
We'll put them down very quickly.
How are you
if they
going to do that?
We have the right to do that. We have the power to do that if we want. Look, it's called insurrection. We just send in
What are you going to do? Let's say there are threats. They say that they're going to threaten riots if they lose on election night, assuming we get a winner on election night. What are you going to do?
We'll put them down very quickly.
How are you
if
going
they
to do that?
We have the right to do that. We have the power to do that if we want. Look, it's called insurrection. We just send in and
What are you going to do?
Look, it's called insurrection. We just send in and look, it's called insurrection. Look, it's called insurrection. Look, it's called insurrection.
All you got to do is just have him just play that over and over again. There he is admitting that rioting to stop the transfer of power, stop the election certification, is insurrection. His own words. So, he's going to get nailed to the wall in these legal cases, okay? Nailed to the wall with his own words. He said it. There he is. Thanks, Tim Cool, Callan, and Free for pulling that out. I know you've been hanging on to that one for a while. I didn't know this was out there. He said it. I mean, there he is. There he is saying it himself.
What are you going to do? Let's say there are threats. They say that they're going to threaten riots if they lose on election night, assuming we get a winner on election night. What are you going to do?
We'll put them down very quickly.
How are you
if
going
they
to do that?
We have the right to do that. We have the power to do that if we want. Look, it's called insurrection. Look, it's called insurrection. Look, it's called insurrection. Look, it's called insurrection.
Hey, Brett Baer, you gonna ask him about this? This is on your network with one of the bozos that parties with Trump's hot, young, sexy attorney. I guess she's his attorney. I don't know what else she is, but on New Year's Eve, I mean, you gonna bring this up? Okay, so a couple things bother me the most, okay? A lot of people gave money to stop the steal, all right? Well, let's just start with the first one, all right? Trump is cooked legally, guys. He is cooked, all right? So, number one, he knew that the election was not stolen. He knew it because people told him, Mark Meadows told him, Jason Miller, all these people told him it wasn't stolen, okay? But he decided that he was going to play this card no matter what. He didn't care that there was no evidence, real hard evidence. Go with any crazy nut job that was coming out and claiming that all these votes went to Germany and they flipped them over there or released the Kraken, and then you had grifters like Lin Wood come out of nowhere, and they saw Trump as somebody they could latch onto, and they realized that all you got to do is tickle this guy's eardrums and tell him what he wants to hear and come up with BS stuff to back up what he wants to hear, and he'll eat it up, he'll share it, he'll promote it, he'll get it, his supporters will eat it up, and you can make some money yourself. I mean, and you can get some fame yourself. So people identified that. It was easy to identify. You know, you could like I remember the craziest thing, any kind of crazy thing you came up with about the election that proved that somehow there was fraud somewhere, would get shared and amplified by Trump and his team of grifters. Okay. So of course people are going to come along and go, oh gee, here's an opportunity for me to be famous. Here's an opportunity for me to sell more pillows. All I got to do is tell this idiot what he wants to hear, and he'll share it with his giant audience. Trump Stop the Steal funds were a ripoff, January 6th committee says. January 6th report traces millions of dollars in Trump payments. Money went to AIDS assistants and Melania's fashion advisor. This article is for subscribers only. Donald Trump campaign raised more than $250 million after the November 2020 election as a purported effort to stop the steal and combat election fraud, but most of the funds were diverted to other purposes. President Trump and his campaign ripped off supporters by raising more than, it's getting lighter and lighter, more than $250 million and claiming they wanted to fight fraud that they knew did not exist. So where did this money come from? All right. A lot of this money came from, people on fixed incomes, MAGA grandmas, people on Social Security. You want to talk about people on Social Security that believed they were giving money to a legitimate cause. Okay, the funds went towards his newly created Save America PAC rather than pay for various legal challenges to Joe Biden's victory. So pretty much, a lot of this Stop the Steal money, if you gave money to Stop the Steal, you're paying for little nitwits like Alex Bruzewitz to lie about Ron DeSantis on Twitter, to smoke pot all day and lie about Ron DeSantis on Twitter. That's where your money went. Your money went to the Save America PAC was basically a slush fund. It went to Melania's hairdresser. Which, by the way, did you see that picture of Trump? Did you see that picture of Trump at the thing? I mean, he looks like an exhumed corpse. I mean, look at him here. Look at this. Look at this picture of him. It's been going around, but look at this. You know, there he's, oh, look at me. I'm like Hugh Hefner, man. Look at me. Look at me with all mother's sick, whatever. Yeah. But look at me here. One of those is his lawyer. I mean, like, what is going on here? Is this a harem? I mean, what's going on here? But look at him. Look how old he is. Oh, my goodness, man. Oh, jeez. And his supporters, oh, look at him with all these hot babes. Yeah, he's really got a hot team of lawyers. He hired the hottest lawyers around, man. They're going to create a Trump's lawyers calendar. But you had, look over here. I mean, this thing, look at this. In a video presentation near the end of the committee's second public hearing in 5 days. And let me say, okay, on the Democrat side, if there's any Democrats watching, if you want to talk on the Democrat side, all right, and then the social media side and the media side, that this stuff was censored so heavily, and the January 6th committee became so politicized and turned into let's hunt down every last Trump supporter and lock them up type thing, that it was easy to discredit any of the real things, any of the actual evidence that was being presented in these things. Okay? Because so a lot of people like myself just dismissed the January 6th commission and just saw it as illegitimate and a political thing. Okay? That was it. But there were some tidbits in there that ring true, okay? So let's all try to be less partisan. And the Republican side, just listen to let's listen to the other side a little more. There's a lot of people that are very financially invested in having this extreme polarization. You hear, oh, our country's never been so polarized. Well, that's by construct, okay? That's on purpose, all right? So the committee's second in 5 days, the panel's senior investigative counsel, Amanda Wick, said the 45th president's campaign pushed false election claims to fundraise, telling supporters it would be used to fight voter fraud that did not exist. According to Wick, more than $100 million alone was raised in the first week after Election Day, okay? Are you getting a picture as to why Trump pushed this stuff? $100 million. All right? Save America PAC donations, $100 million to the Conservative Partnership Institute, $1 million to the America First Policy, $204,857,000 to the Trump Hotel Collection, $5 million to event strategies for like his rallies or whatever. This became a slush fund, okay? For him and all his little bozo influencers and all. And oh boy, they raised $100 million in one day. And then he's like, oh gee, well we gotta ride this all the way through. The videos include screenshots imploring Trump supporters to donate to an official election defense fund. The select committee discovered no such fund exists, said Wick. The committee also played audio of Trump 2020 campaign digital director Gary Kobe agreeing with an interrogator who suggested the fund was merely a marketing tactic. Guys, I know this is not like, oh, breaking news. This is not the kind of thing that is going to garner tons and tons of views just because it's sensationalized BS. But look at this. Does this not piss you off if you believe this stuff? The Democrats will try to steal this election, just like I predicted from the start. Mail-in ballots. Oh, who made it so you could use the mail-in ballots? By the way, that was the CARES Act. That was you, Donald Trump. He also signed a bill funding the FBI to go after hunt down every one of his supporters before he left office. Yeah, he did that too. All the hunting down of the J6ers was funded by a bill that Trump signed at the end of his presidency, another spending bill. Look, just like I predicted to start, mail-in ballots are leading to chaos like you've never seen. Plain and simple, because you signed the CARES Act. The radical left is going to do whatever they can to try to rip a Trump-Pence victory away from you. That's why I'm coming to you now. I need your help to ensure that we have the resources to protect the results. We can't allow the left-wing mob to undermine the election. I'm asking my fiercest and most loyal defenders like you, dumbass, to fight back. Step up immediately and increase your impact by 1,000%. Give now. $5 now to defend the security of our elections. Most of the money, Wick said, went to entities that directly benefited Trump's family and friends rather than election-related litigation. Do you see why, guys? Do you see why the Charlie Kirks and the Posobics and the DC Dranos and all these guys... I'm not saying that they had their hand in this till, but I mean, do you now kind of understand why there's so many of these guys out there that are so fiercely dedicated to destroying Ron DeSantis under any circumstances and doing whatever they can? They got a lot to protect here, financially for themselves, and a lot to lose too. You don't think DeSantis is going to look into this stuff when he becomes president? They're very concerned about DeSantis being president. Let me tell you why they're concerned about DeSantis being president. Because DeSantis has a moral center, and he doesn't like corruption. Okay? Unlike Trump, who is corrupt to the bone. Okay? Among the outlays Wick cited from Save America PAC were $1 million each to a pair of pro-Trump think tanks, a Conservative Partnership Institute, and the America First Policy Institute. Oh, gee. Why not the, oh, geez, I can't think of something funny right now. See, my wife's always quick on her feet. She'd come up with something funny. The America First Policy Institute. The Human Fund. There we go. Also, the Human Fund. Okay, so you're donating to the Human Fund. Guys, Stop the Steal was the Human Fund, okay? Basically, it was the Human Fund. The Seinfeld episode, you know what I'm talking about? That's what this was. Okay? It was the American First Policy Institute. Wow, that sounds legit, man. That sounds totally legit. All right. I mean, non-profit research institution. I wonder how much of that money went into maybe like Trafalgar Polls or any of these polling companies. Events try more than 200,000 to the Trump Hotel collection, and $5 million to Event Strategies, the firm that helped put on the January 6th Stop the Steal rally. Okay, so that participated in the Capitol riot. Representative Zoe Lofgren, Democrat, California. Democrat, fake news. She can't be telling the truth at all. See, that's something that Trump's done. That's a cult tactic. That's a cult. I'm reading this great book, The Cult of Trump, from a guy that left the Sun Myung Moon cult. And he talks about all these tactics that are employed. And it's an us versus them thing. But the Democrats also have some kind of involvement is because they let their party become, with Adam Schiff and these guys, become so politicized that it was able to play into this stuff with Trump. All the stuff that Schiff did, all the going after these guys, and a lot of these, that played into the paranoia, okay? So there's enough blame to go around. Trump is very good at identifying things he can take advantage of and taking advantage of them. Zoe Lofgren, Democrat, California, accused Trump and his backers of swindling supporters who donated in good faith to help the former president's legal cause. See, there needs to be a Republican with the balls to stand up and say the same thing, okay? People aren't going to hear it from Amanda Wick or Zoe Lofgren. They're just going to write them off as, oh, fake news. Oh, where is this from anyway? This is fake news, New York Post, right? Well, wait a minute. New York Post is kind of, they had the Hunter Biden story. New York Post has been pretty good. But they're fake news when there's anything that the Trump supporters don't want to hear. Smaller dollar donors use scarce and disposable income to support candidates and causes of their choosing, to make their voices heard, and those donors deserve the truth about what those funds will be used for, she said. Throughout the committee's investigation, we found evidence that the Trump campaign and its surrogates misled donors as to where their funds would go and what they've been used for. This is Firefest. I mean, this is Firefest 2.0 here. Not only was there a big lie, there was a big ripoff. Lofgren at it. Donors deserve to know where their funds are really going. They deserve better than what President Trump and his team did. Not to mention there's people sitting in jail over this because there's people that went to the Capitol and did what they did and did it believing the election was truly stolen. Okay? But look at all these people. These are the kind of people that organizations like the National Republican Senatorial Committee are calling all the time. And, oh, will you please give us money? But they were led to believe that, hey, look, this money is going to stop the steal of the election. And this is going, but it wasn't. It was dumped into these PACs and then who knows where they went. The money went. I don't know where all the money went, but there sure are a lot of these big platform Trump surrogates who don't have real jobs in the real life as far as I know. Like, I've got real jobs. Like, does DC Drano or any of these guys, do they have actual jobs? Does he do legal work? Or because it seems like he just posts on Twitter all day long and that's what he gets paid for. Like, where did that money come from? If any of these surrogates are being paid, X Strategies, where did they get their money from? Was it the Save America PAC? To sit there and do the polling companies get any of this money? The point is the money did not go to where Trump said it was going to go, okay? It is now conclusive to me that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election, okay? There is, and guess what, guys? Guess what? He's going to be grilled about this. If not by Bret Baier. Don't expect Bret Baier to grill him on this. Him and all his babes, him and his harem there. Don't expect Bret Baier to grill him on this, or to ask him about this, or bring up the 2020 election in any way. But he will be grilled about this in his trials. In the Jack Smith trial, in the Georgia case, and he's going to have his own people like Meadows and Jenna Ellis, and these people testifying that he knew the election wasn't stolen, that they told him it wasn't stolen. that it was a lie. And it was a lie that he made a lot of money off of. So, really, honestly, Bret Baier, this is why Trump won't debate, by the way. This is why he won't debate. No way he's going to, because DeSantis will call him out on this stuff. I mean, DeSantis will call him out. Oh, yeah, look, I never use any AI on me, by the way, okay? I use a little hairspray, but I don't use any AI. So any image you see, I've never done an AI image of myself in my life. So I'm proud of that. But yeah, Bret Baier looking to flip his amenity-packed Washington, D.C. estate for $32 million. Yeah, he's a real man of the people there. Look, Bret Baier has done some okay things. I'm not against people making some money, okay? He's probably been one of the better ones at Fox News, I think. But what is happening with Fox News is these guys are getting old, okay? And their audience is getting old. And they're not drawing in any young people, okay? Any younger people. Fox News is their audience, I would say, and their audience is dropping, by the way, because they're dying. Their audience is dying. They have an audience of mainly people 55 plus, 65 plus, all right? And their hosts are 55, 65 plus. Their audience is getting older, and their hosts are getting older. One day, Donald Trump will not be around anymore. And what are all these news organizations going to do when Donald Trump's long gone? Who are they going to latch onto next? Their audiences are getting older, they're getting older, and they're not recruiting any new audience in, because Donald Trump, he's almost 80 years old, okay? He's not something that's exciting and edgy for young people, all right? He's looking older than he ever did, all right? Now, Bret Baier, okay, so he's not at all going to get on the stage with Ron DeSantis, because Ron DeSantis will call him out on the Stop the Steal scam, because I know for a fact that really, really makes Ron DeSantis mad, okay? It does. One thing I know about Ron DeSantis, he does not like senior citizens getting scammed, okay? He does not like those things. Anytime there's a scam going on in Florida, there are attorney generals all over it, okay? He does not, and he does not like this. And he would call Donald Trump out to his face on this. That's why Trump will not get on that stage with him, okay? It's not just about Fauci. It's not just about, and I hope DeSantis brings this up. I know this is a touchy issue with people, because a lot of these people really truly believe the 2020 election was stolen, but I think this needs to be brought up, all right? But Trump won't give him that opportunity to be up there and go back and forth with him on it. So will Bret Baier bring this up? I doubt it. And I'm sure the audience that he's going to be allegedly taking questions from is probably going to be stacked. Okay? He's just trying to take viewers away from Ron DeSantis, but on the 10th. But my belief is that this will be, Trump looks great in his 105th birthday. Yeah, that picture. And then they tried to like touch it up. They tried to like get tired of this AI stuff. I really am. I'm getting tired of the AI. It's already getting old. But I don't expect that he's going to be asked about that. You know, I think, to me, this is the thing that I am the most upset with Trump about right now. Even if he's on the Epstein flight logs 100 times, which, by the way, with the Epstein stuff, Trump should have Trump appointed Alex Azar to be his Secretary of Labor, the federal prosecutor that let Epstein off the hook, because Epstein was arrested and they knew this stuff about him, but they basically let him just go on house arrest, and then they didn't follow up with him. So he was flying to all his mansions and stuff and continuing to assault underage girls. And that was Alex Azar, was the federal prosecutor that went soft on him. Trump rewarded him with a high up position in his administration. And then that got shut down. So that's something I had with Trump, with how many, I mean, that was, you want to talk about a slap in the face to, geez, is a current I'm thinking of another guy, not Alex Azar. Alex Azar is a Health and Human Service. I'm talking about Alex Acosta. Okay? Now here we go with him. Alex Acosta to resign as labor secretary over Jeffrey Epstein plea deal. This was July 12, 2019. President Trump's embattled labor secretary, R. Alexander Acosta, announced his resignation on Friday amid continuing questions about his handling of a sex crime case involving financier Jeffrey Epstein when Mr. Acosta was a federal prosecutor in Florida. Mr. Trump, who announced the resignation and said Mr. Acosta had called him on Friday morning to tell the president he planned to step down. Mr. Acosta's decision came only 2 days after he held a news conference to defend his handling of the 2008 sex crimes prosecution of Mr. Epstein while trying to quell a chorus of Democratic calls for his resignation and convincing Mr. Trump he was strong enough to survive. He felt the constant drumbeat of press about a prosecution which took place under his watch more than 12 years ago was bad for the administration, which he so strongly believes in. He graciously tendered his resignation, the president wrote. Well, yes, I appointed the guy that went easy on Epstein, but it was just too much. I tried to reward him for letting Jeffrey Epstein off the hook. He was a friend of mine. He came to a lot of my parties. We liked the same music. We both like very, very young girls. Maybe he likes them a little younger than me. I don't know, but very young, very young. And he went easy on him. I said, it would probably be okay. It was a good thing, but it's just too much for the administration. They're coming for you, so we need you to step down, okay? I think it went kind of like that. This was him, not me, the president said of Mr. Acosta's decision to resign, adding Mr. Acosta had been a great, great secretary, tremendous talent. He went to Harvard, a great student. Oh, yeah. Mr. Acosta acknowledged the storyline around him was a distraction from Mr. Trump. The focus needs to be on this economy and job creation, blah, 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 blah. Mr. Trump named Mr. Acosta's deputy to serve. Okay. Here it is. The president initially told people that he thought that Mr. Acosta did well in explaining why he had agreed to a plea deal in which Mr. Epstein served 13 months in jail after being accused of sexually abusing dozens of young women and girls. Underage women and girls. Share this around. Share this. Nobody else is going to talk about this. So please like and share this podcast everywhere. The president initially told people that he thought that Mr. Acosta did well in explaining why he had agreed to a plea deal in which Mr. Epstein served 13 months in jail after being accused of sexually abusing dozens of girls and young women. Oh, 13 months. Jeez, 13 months. Acosta and Barr wouldn't lie. I don't mind Bill Barr. Bill Barr seems like he tells the truth. He does. I'm not going to just discredit somebody because Trump tells me to anymore. Honestly, Chris Christie says some things that are dead on. What about that? Jeb Bush isn't always lying either. How about that? How many people have just been demonized as being basically subhuman just because Trump and his thugs just berated them so much? But then he runs around with Lindsey Graham. Okay, so please don't lecture me about who is credible and who is not credible when Trump runs around with Lindsey Graham. All right, please. I'm done with this. I'll decide who I think is credible and who's not. I can like Jeb Bush if I want to too. Trump and his people have made certain people subhuman. That's what they do. That's what they're trying to do to Ron DeSantis right now. They're trying to make him less than human, vermin, really, less than human. So even the sound of their names is unacceptable. And some people, they just went nuts that Jeb Bush was even at DeSantis's inauguration, the former governor of Florida. Because why? They had to stop. Why? Because Trump doesn't like him. Trump called him low energy. And, Jeb Bush did some good things for school choice here in Florida. It doesn't matter anymore. He's subhuman now. See how that works? I'm not playing that game anymore. So Mr. Acosta, according to two people familiar with his thinking, was under the impression that Mr. Trump was pleased at how he explained himself there and parried questions from journalists. Oh, he slithered his way out of it very well, yeah. Top officials at the Labor Department thought the news conference, which had been requested by Mr. Trump, had helped Mr. Acosta save his job and were taken back by his abrupt resignation, a decision Mr. Acosta made. Mr. Acosta, those people said, had never been a natural fit in the circus-like environment of the Trump administration. Okay, I want to see. Okay, here we go. Mr. Acosta's role in the prosecution of Mr. Epstein came up during his confirmation hearings, but it was only when federal prosecutors in Manhattan brought new charges against Mr. Epstein this week, accusing him of child sex trafficking, that the federal government's handling of accusations against him more than a decade ago became a highly publicized issue. The new charges also drew attention to Mr. Trump's own previous relationship with Mr. Epstein, who in 2002 he described as a terrific guy. Here's an article in the New Yorker. Jeffrey Epstein, international money man of mystery. And Donald Trump calls him, oh, he's a great guy, man. And then he wished Ghislaine Maxwell that she would have a, oh, man, I hope she does well, or I wish her well in prison, because he was friends with these guys, okay? He's a terrific guy, really terrific guy. Boy, he likes him young, but too young, I think, but he's really a terrific guy. And then you've got the QAnon people that make Epstein part of their religion and paint Trump as being somebody who is saving children. All right, that is nonsense. That is utter nonsense. And they will demonize anybody who's ever flown on the Epstein Lolita Express for anything, even though look, billionaires share each other's private jets, I guess, okay? All right, I don't live in that world. But it is possible that somebody flew on the plane but didn't do anything wrong, okay? But it should be looked into, all right? But my point is with the QAnon people, anybody that maybe didn't even have anything to do with Epstein. Isaac Cappy made a video saying that, oh yeah, he had something, he was in the child sex trafficking in Epstein, and that's all they need to completely destroy one person. But Donald Trump flew on the plane, and but that's okay. He was trying to expose him. Right? The president repeated on Friday that he cut ties with Mr. Epstein years ago after a falling out. I haven't spoken to him in 15 years or more, Mr. Trump said. I wasn't a big fan of Jeffrey Epstein, I can tell you. Yeah, it doesn't look at it from the pictures. All right? It doesn't... Oh, here we go. Look at this. So there's Alex Acosta, who, went easy on Epstein. Mr. Acosta said he wanted to help Mr. Epstein's victims, and that's what the prosecutors in the office did. They insisted that he go to jail and put the world on notice he's a sexual predator. Yeah, well, you only... You let him out. You only gave him... Hey, prosecutors accused Mr. Epstein and his employees of running a sex trafficking scheme to bring dozens of girls, some as young as 14, to his homes in New York and Palm Beach from 2002 to 2005. If convicted, he could face up to 45 years in prison. Look at this. Congressional Democrats on Thursday demanded a briefing from the Justice Department about the 2008 agreement by Mr. Acosta's office not to prosecute Mr. Epstein, which included a promise to Mr. Epstein's defense team that federal prosecutors would not notify his victims of the arrangement. Oh, gee, I wonder why. The practice was not only unusual, but against the law. The secrecy around the negotiations raised questions why Mr. Epstein, who Mr. Trump recently described as a fixture in Palm Beach, where the president's Mar-a-Lago club is, received such a lenient punishment. Lisa Bloom, lawyer who represents several of Mr. Epstein's accusers, said Mr. Acosta never belonged in the position in Mr. Trump's administration that he is leaving. Quote, President Trump was willing to overlook Acosta's sweetheart deal with Epstein when he appointed Acosta, even though many raised these issues at the time. This issue at the time, as Bloom said in an email. Acosta has abused his public trust and should never have been appointed in the first place. So Epstein got a sweetheart deal, and then by Acosta, who Trump appointed as Secretary of Labor, knowing he gave him that sweetheart deal, but because Epstein hadn't been rearrested yet. But as soon as Epstein was rearrested and it was seen what he had done, Acosta had to go. But Acosta would have stayed on there. If the New York case hadn't happened against Epstein, Acosta would have stayed on as Secretary of Labor. That's the only thing that pushed him to resign. Trump knew about the sweetheart deal. Don't tell me Trump didn't know what Epstein was doing, okay? Please. All these guys knew. They gave him a slap on the wrist and then let him out to keep doing it again. And that's the guy who Trump put as his Secretary of Labor. All right. She said her clients were struggling with memories of the sexual abuse prompted by news coverage of the charges, but is hopeful that accountability may really be found, finally be last possible. Theodore J. Leopold, a lawyer who represented one of the first girls to come forward, said Mr. Acosta was likely forced out because of election year pressure. Well, duh. I personally think the resignation has a lot more to do with the fact that every day in the news the president's name was coming up in conjunction with Epstein, Mr. Leopold said. This is going to be a campaign issue. It was going to come back to the president at some point in time if Acosta stayed, because every day there was more fuel to the fire. All right, so now we go over here. And Newsweek, oh boy. Here we go. This is today. This is today in Newsweek. Donald Trump's flight on Jeffrey Epstein's Lolita Express. What we know. All right. Look, these guys, they were friends, okay? And if anybody else was this close with Epstein, they would be blasted by the Trump conspiracy base, okay? But Trump, I almost think that some of these, the QAnon thing and these people, that this was almost created as a smokescreen to divert from Trump and how actually close he was to Epstein, okay? This is Newsweek today, okay. There's some speculation that former President Donald Trump could be among the high-profile names included in the unsealed court documents related to pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, as the former president sometimes used the child sex offender's private plane. The names of about 200 people linked to Epstein, who took his own life in a New York jail cell in August 2019 while awaiting trial for child sex charges, could be revealed this week, after U.S. District Judge Loretta Prescue ruled that they should no longer be redacted as part of the settled civil lawsuit between Ghislaine Maxwell, who was found guilty in December 2021 of helping Epstein abuse and traffic underage girls, and accuser Virginia Giuffre. Boy, if it wasn't for this Virginia Giuffre, none of this stuff would be happening. No wonder she got out of the country. But good for her for exposing this. You know, Alan Dershowitz is said to have been involved in this, okay? And who's always defending Trump on Fox News every single night? Alan Dershowitz. Oh, gee. You know, it really, you know, it's sliminess. We don't have to do this kind of sliminess anymore. We can be done with all this, guys. Why the hell would we put this guy back in power? Why the hell would we make him the Republican nominee? Okay, when we have Ron DeSantis, it's insane. Many of the names believed to be included in the documents are already known to have some associations with Epstein, including former President Bill Clinton and Britain's Prince Andrew, who settled with Dupree for a reported multi-million-dollar payment after she alleged she had sex with the royal when she was 17 after being trafficked by Epstein. It's believed others named in the documents will not be accused of any wrongdoing in connection with Epstein, including Clinton and Trump, and may be included because they were found to have flown on the financier's private jet. There they are. Hey, buddy. Oh, yeah. I like Jeffrey a lot. He's hot. He likes the girls very young. Very young. I do like him. Okay, they're in 1997. That's at Mar-a-Lago. At a Democrat fundraiser, probably. I mean, this is who Trump hung around with. Boy, the Trump cult gets so mad when you bring this up. He exposed him, Chris. He exposed him. He kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago when he found out what he was doing. Just like he kicked out Alex Azar when the shit hit the fan there. It sounds like Trump only does brave, heroic things, quote unquote, when somebody's gotten caught and he has to distance himself. During Maxwell's 2021 trial, it was revealed that Trump had flown several times on Epstein's jet, dubbed the Lolita Express, in the 1990s. Trump flew 4 times in 1993, as well as once in 94, 95, and 97. The flights were between Palm Beach, Florida, and New York City airports, with one 1994 flight stopping at Ronald Reagan International Airport. In another June 1994 flight, Trump traveled with a woman named Marla, presumed to be wife Marla Maples, and his infant daughter Tiffany, along with the nanny. Trump's son Eric is also listed in a flight in August 1995 from Palm Beach to New York and would have been 11 at the time of the flight. There's no evidence Trump visited Epstein's notorious Little St. James Island, where the late financier is said to have trafficked and sexually abused young women and girls. Trump has also never been implicated in the offenses by Epstein or Maxwell. Newsweek reached out to Trump's office via email and comment. I don't think anybody said that Trump visited the island, but I don't think that just that visiting the island is the be-all, end-all. The people that visited the island need to be investigated because we know what happened down there on that island. I mean, he had an island that he would bring people to, and I mean, these are underage girls that they would have sex with. It was gross. Gross. But he flew on his plane a bunch of times, and that seems to be a real problem for a lot of the Trump cultish base. So why isn't it a problem with this? I think this is disgusting. I think it's disgusting. I think it's disgusting that this guy was his friend. Whether or not he went to the island or not. I mean, I don't want anybody to be president who is associated with this guy, with Jeffrey Epstein. And the Epstein stuff, remember, that all hit the fan, and Epstein killed himself, allegedly, while Trump was in office. All right? All that stuff didn't hit the fan until Trump was in office. All right? So there's an argument to be made, well, we didn't know the extent of it, but Trump gets into office, appoints the prosecutor who went easy on Epstein to a high-up position, Secretary of Labor, then shit hits the fan. Then, Alex Acosta's got to go, and then suddenly the QAnon stuff starts coming out that, Trump was really saving the children and stuff like that. I think that's all BS. I think that was all orchestrated. This is disgusting. I mean, to me, this is disgusting. This disgusts me, all right? I don't care what kind of excuse you can come up with. This Trump disgusts me. I think he's gross, all right? You believe whatever the heck you want. I think he's disgusting, all right? Another thing, all right, here that came up in my feed today, and then I'm going to wrap this up, is, this is about what you're going to get here. It's about what you're going to get. Trump is only on the Epstein client list to expose him. You're a DeSimp. Why are the DeSimps saying this? It was actually Ron DeSantis' fault. This is what you got. Guys, what's the definition of being red-pilled? Not this. To me, it's like, I think Trump's gross. I think Trump is absolutely disgusting. Okay? How about that? What do you think about that? All right. Now Trump, allegedly up 50 points, is using his campaign officials to cut backroom deals with GOP establishment to use county resources to beg people to man the phones for him in Iowa and New Hampshire. He's desperate, guys. He's desperate, and I can't wait to see Ron DeSantis kick his ass. I really can't. It's going to be a beautiful thing. He so has it coming. Gonna check out this space here in a second. Tim Cool's doing his libertarians. Some of that was pretty funny. I'm gonna check that out here in a minute. Libertarians. No, the government can't hurt you, but private corporations can do whatever they want to you, Chris. It's like, okay. Nah, not down with that. All right, Trump is doing his simultaneous town hall with Bret Baier the same time as the CNN debate on January 10th at 9 o'clock. Not surprised at that at all. This is a 90s music. What are you whispering to him? What made you laugh? What are they looking at? What's he saying to him there, do you think? Can anybody read his lips? Can you read his lips? Do you know what he's saying?
Oh, he's talking about a girl. I mean, he's definitely talking about a girl. I mean, there's no way he's not. You know what? There isn't videos of Ron DeSantis doing this with Epstein. Oh, but he was just exposing him there, Chris. He didn't know. He didn't know he was gross. Look, this a judge of character type thing. I mean, you know, have you ever cut somebody out of your life and then later on found out things about them that you were like, man, I knew I had a feeling about that person. Trump obviously connected with this guy. He obviously connected with Epstein. You can tell there's a connection there. He likes him. He likes him. And Trump did all these little teen Miss USA pageants. And all those things. And here he is. Former teen beauty queens. Trump barged in on us changing. Okay. Trump barged in on us changing. Published October 12, 2016. We should have known better, guys. There were a lot of warning signs about this guy. I voted for Cruz in the primary, but, you know, I got on the Trump train pretty quickly there. And there was a lot of warning signs about this guy. Okay? A lot that we just ignored because it became the popular thing to do. And shame on us. Shame on me. Shame on anybody that ignored. There was a lot of warning signs. Okay? Donald Trump barged in on Miss Teen USA contestants while they were changing clothes and engaged in creepy dressing room banter with the girls, some as young as 15, according to the report. Yaren Steinbuch, New York Post, October 12, 2016. At least 4 women told BuzzFeed that the mogul who owned the Miss Universe, Miss USA, and Miss Teen USA pageants from 1996 until last year nonchalantly strolled into their dressing room during the 1997 pageant. I remember putting on my dress really quick because I was like, oh my God, there's a man in here. Well, Trump doesn't. He might have been identifying as a woman that day. Trump doesn't think there's any problem with men going into women's bathrooms, so why wouldn't he have any problem with going into a 16-year-old's dressing room? I remember putting on, the Donald, she recalled, responded saying something like, don't worry, ladies, I've seen it all before. Oh, yeah, great. 3 other women who asked to remain anonymous also remembered the future Republican presidential nominee entering their dressing room while the girls were changing. 2 of them said the girls rushed to cover themselves, one calling it shocking and creepy. 11 of the 1997 contestants told BuzzFeed they did not recall seeing Trump in their dressing room. The Trump campaign did not respond to the site. See, this was on BuzzFeed, so of course people are, oh, fake news. But I mean, this is what they said. Allegations about the dressing room intrusion come as Trump's White House bid was sent reeling by a 2005 video of him boasting about his attempt to F a married woman and claiming that other women let him grab him by the PUSSY. I'm not trying to be, grab him by because he's a star. He has repeatedly said these comments were simply benign locker room banter, so he didn't deny it. I mean, my question is, okay, so it was locker room banter, but look, grab him by the, okay? This is what, like, men go to jail for this, all right? You can't just go around groping women. Ask Ron Jeremy. Well, actually, Ron Jeremy played a crazy card, so he got, because a bunch of women, that Ron Jeremy would come up and grope them and actually, and touch them and insert his fingers, okay? That is sexual assault, okay? So, my question about that remark is not just, am I mad that he made the remark? It's like, wait a minute, is it true? Do you just go up and grope women like that? Because that's sexual assault. It's not just locker room talk. It's what you said. I mean, if locker room talk is saying she's got some nice tits, okay? That's locker room talk. Nice boobies. I don't like to sound crude. Nice boobies. She's got some nice boobs. She got a nice butt. That's locker room talk, okay? I go around and I grab them by their privates. I grope women. That's like confession to sexual assault. That's what my question was about that. was, okay, is it true? And who have you done this to? All right, that's what I thought. All right. BuzzFeed tried reaching 40. Okay, Miss Teen USA contestants discussed their awkward 1997 encounter with Trump in a private Facebook group after BuzzFeed reported that a contestant in an adult pageant said he had walked into a changing room packed with naked women. BuzzFeed tried reaching 49 of the 51 contestants. This is the Teen USA pageant, by the way. This is not the regular Miss USA pageant. These are teenagers. All right. 34 declined to be interviewed or could not be reached. Out of the 15 women who spoke, none accused Trump of saying anything sexually explicit or making physical contact in the dressing room. Trump has boasted about invading beauty queen dressing rooms, calling it one of the perks of ownership. I tell you the funniest is, I'll go backstage before a show and everyone's getting dressed, Trump told Howard Stern in a 2005 recording released by CNN. No men are anywhere, and I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, therefore I'm inspecting it. Is everyone okay? This is gross. I mean, this sounds like a dirty old man. You know, they're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that. Stern replied, you're like a doctor. You're like a... Oh. But it has never been alleged that Trump also entered dressing rooms occupied by underage contestants. Okay. The Trump campaign and the Trump organization did not respond to requests for comment. The Miss Universe organization, which runs Miss Teen USA, declined to comment. Trump's daughter Ivanka served as co-host of the 1997 pageant, his first as owner, when she was 15. Of the 15 women who said they don't remember Trump coming into the large changing room, which had 51 stations for the contestants, some said it was possible he entered while they were somewhere else or didn't notice. One of the women who asked to remain anonymous, who was 17, said at the time, you're a teenager, you're intimidated, it's Donald Trump, he runs the pageant. We were all very young, but even at the time, it caught us funny. Now, as an adult and mother, she said she considers it absolutely inappropriate. A woman who was 15 at the time said that she was fully dressed when Trump walked in. He was like, hi, my name is, and I introduced myself. She said she had no idea who he was, except that he's the owner of the pageant. Most of the former contestants were doubtful or dismissed the possibility Trump violated their changing room privacy. There were so many chaperones, I can't fathom him doing that. I can. Their teenage girls, if anything appropriate had gone on, the gossip would have flown, maybe. Trump seems to get away with a lot. But Bellato said she told Ivanka Trump at the time her dad had entered the room when the girls were changing. Yeah, he does that, Bellato said. Ivanka responded. I remember it shocking me, Bellato said. I can barely let anyone except my sister see me get dressed. Tasha Dixon, Miss Arizona 2001, told CBS 2 Los Angeles that Trump walked into her Miss USA pageant dressing room. Jeez, this guy walks into dressing rooms like crazy. This guy's a creeper. Look, Donald Trump's a creeper, all right? Like, I don't know how else you say this, but it's watching people defend him and act like they're like the morality police. This guy's a creeper, all right? Our first introduction to him was when we were at the dress rehearsal and half naked changing into our bikinis, Dixon said. He just came strolling right in. There was no second to put a robe on or any sort of clothing or anything. Some girls were topless, others were naked. Guys, we got a creeper on our hands here, okay? I don't know how else. And I wasn't going to talk about this stuff, but I was talking about the election thing. We got a creeper and a con artist on our hands here, guys. Republicans. You know who's not a creeper and a con artist, and who's a very good conservative and knows how to run things in government and will be the most fantastic president we've ever seen? Ron DeSantis. All right, guys. Please like, share this, get this around. This is who he is. Yes. I had no idea. Can everybody say gross? Yeah. If you're in one of Trump's pageants or contestants, you know, he likes to walk in the dressing room. Hopefully he didn't bring his buddy Jeffrey Epstein into any of those dressing rooms, because we know what happens then. Very gross, very sad. It doesn't have to be this way, guys. We got a better guy, and this is not somebody that we need to have going against Biden or being our candidate, guys. He's a creeper. It's Chris Nelson. Please like and share. Thanks for watching.